You're tuned into WestLINK.
Welcome to WestLINK, where we connect to talk about relevant topics. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon, and I would like to invite you to please like, to comment, or to subscribe on the Toronto West channel. I am your host today, and my name is Kenroy, and Kimberly will be our co-host. Just a little bit about myself. I am a family man. I have 3 children, and my oldest is 25. And my youngest is 5 years old. I am currently a full-time student in York University, where I'm studying the field of clinical psychology. And I am a proud graduate of the School of Ontario School of Evangelism, where I'm a Bible instructor and also a lay preacher. Today's program is on one youth at a time. Homelessness, breaking the barriers and providing prevention. The program will speak about preventing homelessness and educating you on the youth. Homelessness and what we can do within our community to partner a community and organization such as Youth Without Shelter to put a hand to homelessness. Let me introduce my co-speaker today, which is Kimberly Springer. Welcome to WestLINK, Kimberly. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Kenroy. My name is Kimberly Springer, and I am passionate about youth engagement in the community, and I am looking forward to our discussion today. I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker, Mr. Mike Burnett. Mr. Mike graduated from Humber College in 2011 with an advanced diploma with honors in child and youth care. In 2012, he attended Ryerson University for Child and Youth Care Bachelor of Arts program. Over the past 10 years, Mike Burnett has held many roles at Youth Without Shelter. I will now hand it over to Mike to present, where he will tell us a little bit more about himself, the amazing work he's done with YWS. Toronto West has also been a partner with him on more than one occasion.
Yes, we did a Global Youth Day.
We did.
Fantastic.
Well, let's let Mike go into our discussion today. We'll
Awesome.
hear from you now.
Thank you so much, Kenroy and Kimberly, for that kind welcome. What I'd like to do is I'm going to share my screen quick, everybody here today. I do know that everybody's internet is slightly different around the world. So I'm going to take a couple of seconds of delay here just to ensure that everybody's internet does catch up on time. But what I also want to say is thank you so much for tuning in today, to connecting with us here at WestLINK, to kind of learn, engage, and to be able to make change within our society today. Now, a little bit about myself. You may be wondering, who is this individual? Kimberly, amazing introduction. But a little bit more about me. I have called YWS home for many of years. I did originally start as that placement student back in Humber College. Luckily, I got welcomed and invited into the family long term, having several different positions there. Everything from frontline case management, seeing individuals on a day-to-day basis, seeing them as they may come in, working with them, meeting their own goals, helping them reach their greatest potentials. Then I moved over into volunteerism, fundraisings, trying to affect the change within a giant macro instead of just working one-on-one with these individuals. In 2016, I changed and developed this role, building a role not just being able to come and speak with amazing individuals such as yourselves, but also to affect a social change in community, work with those that are at risk of homelessness. Now, one big thing as well, I'm not just here to talk about myself. I'm here to talk about this amazing place. This is home. This is home to 53 young people. Now, it's a bit of change on things. But the big thing is we still are meeting towards our guiding mission statements, making sure that over the 35 years that YWS has been there, yes, that's right. Back in 1986, we were started. A group of guidance counselors, teachers, and principals realizing that, you know what? Young people shouldn't have to leave their neighborhoods, shouldn't have to leave their communities to find things like education, shelter, safety, security, new family. We kept that guiding principles all the way through, up till today, making sure that we can help support any young person from where they are currently to making sure that they can reach their greatest potentials, ensuring that no youth is ever left behind. Now, way back in 1986, we weren't that full encompassing supports. We were simply that emergency stop, that place for somebody who needed that refuge, place to lay their head, place for someone to be able to talk to, receive that nutritious meals, the support. But much like the community, we evolve, we change, we want to do better for our young people. This is why we've changed our services to incorporate things like our stay in school program. Here, 20 young people are staying with us long term, ensuring that no matter what, they can be able to graduate with their grade 9s, their college, or even their high school level education. I'll get you the same supports you need on the emergency side program. You know, your counseling, your meals, your clothing, whatever you might need. But I'm also getting you laptops, computers, Metro passes. I'm tracking your attendance. I'm making sure you're going to parent-teacher conferences. You want us in the stand at your big sports games. We will be there. But we want to evolve even beyond that. I don't just want to have somebody set up for success for now. Let's set them up for success for long term. Let's build those life skills. You know, whether this is budgeting, learning how to be able to do laundry, transportation, communication. Maybe you're even learning how to make a meal for yourself. I mean, that's one of my favorite ones. Because guess what? You're not making a meal just for yourself. You're making it for the entire house. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a young person, I would eat 2-3 meals. I had hollow legs. We want to ensure the same thing for our young people too. So we're making 2-3 meals. You're making stuff on a catering size quality. These are employment skills. Maybe you wanted to go learn your knife handlers, get your food handlers, get your first aid certificates. But the thing is we're not just looking at defining, you know, here's a job, bye, you can make some money. No, let's find the job that's right for you. Let's ensure that every young person has the adequate supports they need to be able to move forward. Maybe that is that, you know, nice suit, that blouse, that nylons, that hard hat, that dust mask, that respirator. Maybe we're getting you a security license. You want to be a police officer. Maybe you want to be a nurse. We're trying to get you into working at veteran offices. Maybe you want to be a firefighter. We're trying to get you some volunteering to be able to get you into school. There's lots of opportunities out there. And the big thing is we want to ensure that our young people are always moving towards housing, but not just housing. It's that housing with ongoing aftercares. It's that ongoing supports that every community member should have access to. I remember when I moved out for the very first time off to college, I didn't just pack my bag and be like, bye, Mom, see you later. I'm out the door for the very first time. No, I would show up with my bag of laundry and just be like, hey, Mom, can I throw this in here? Can I stay for dinner? Do you mind me going through the pantry and grabbing some craft dinner? It just kind of helps right now. We do the same thing for our young people too. Pre-pandemic, we used to have them come back and enjoy a meal with us, drop off laundry. But even post-pandemic, we're still having our access to our food banks, hygiene banks, food supplies, clothing bank services, anything to be able to ensure that a young person is never out there on their own. Once you're a part of the YWS family, you're always a part of the YWS family. I'm so glad that WestLINK is part of our big family, because with your support, this is what we're able to provide to every single young person going forward. But thinking about this too, what does make YWS a home? I mean, these are just services right now. What if I were to only tell you that we are the only shelter that is in Etobicoke right now, particularly we're in Northwest Etobicoke? This is a big thing. We're the only youth shelter within the west end of the city, making sure that no young people, again, still have to move to new neighborhoods to be able to receive things like schools, friends, supports. We want to be able to ensure that everybody has these opportunities. We are very close to Pearson Airport. Pre-pandemic, we were seeing newcomers, refugees that were coming through this airport on a daily basis. Many newcomers and individuals would call YWS home for the very first time. I remember young people had their eyes lighting up, seeing snow falling for the very first time, enjoying a nice holiday season at YWS. And this is why we need to ensure that it doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from. Our biggest thing is that we need to ensure that this is a safe place for absolutely every single young person that be able to enter our doors. And with your support, I know that this is something we can do. Now, I want to dial this back for a little bit too, because many people, when they kind of have the idea of homelessness, they have this picture in their head. But is this accurate? I mean, if we're taking the simple definition of homelessness, this is really just an individual or a family who doesn't have a permanent address or doesn't have the means of acquiring a permanent address, or their current living situation doesn't meet public housing standards. That's a lot of information. Don't worry. I'm going to help you. I'll break this down a little bit for you. The Canadian government is put into 3 categories. I like throwing this to 4 categories. It helps me wrap my brain around things personally. And if we take this at one area, we're looking at those that are unsheltered. These are individuals that are on the street, are individuals living in shelters that are makeshift, individuals that are living in stairwells, cars, places that are really not meant for human habitation. But we also have those that are emergency sheltered. These are those that might be staying in places like YWS. They might be in family shelters, Air to the Cold programs. A lot of churches tend to open up their basements over the winter months as well. Now, the Canadian government has put both of these under the bracket of absolute homelessness. This is only really one level of homelessness. And this is where most people's level of homelessness tends to stop. Well, knowledge of homelessness tends to stop, rather. What if I were to tell you there was actually 2 other levels? Because believe it or not, there are also those that are hidden homeless. These are individuals who simply lack tenure or really just don't have that place to call their own. I mean, if we put this in layman's terms, this is couch surfing. I had a lot of friends that did this when I was younger. They'd bounce around from place to place, come on my couch for a week, move over to my other friend's couch. And it was like a monthly rotation. I never really considered that these individuals were actually experiencing homelessness. They always had good reasons. I mean, my place is more fun. They liked hanging out here. Oh, their parents, they're just gone for a little bit. And then they would just move on. I just wouldn't hear from them again. But I would find they were over at my other friend's house. It was quite interesting that a lot of youth are caught within this kind of bracket too. Is it safer than living on the streets? Not always. A lot of young people may be taken advantage of in these situations as well. And the Canadian government also has defined those that are at risk of homelessness in the bracket of homelessness as well. Now, these are individuals who are currently housed, but they're either like that one paycheck away or their housing standards don't meet public health guidelines. I mean, the pandemic has put a huge exacerbation on this. Toronto Bread Food Bank has seen about 76% increase in users. The York region has hit the wait list of 15,000 individuals waiting for subsidized housing. And I mean, evictions, mortgations has stopped. Sheriff could be showing up for a lot of young people through evictions. And a lot of young people may be caught in these situations. And this is where we need to step in to be able to help support a young person within your community with ongoing supports. But thinking about this too, like, why does youth homelessness even happen in the first place? I mean, Canadian definition, or at least the Ontario definition of homelessness, is a young person between the ages 16 to 24 years old. Now, there's a lot of reasons why a young person might enter into homelessness. Sadly, the most recent street counts have said about 31% of every single homeless person in Toronto experienced homelessness even before the age of 16. Why that number is important is you're not even emancipated yet. You're legally not even allowed to leave a home. You can't even enter services like mine. You're heading off towards the child different stream. You're heading off child welfare stream, CCAS, JFCS, CCAS, CAS, group homes. It's a very different stream, and many people either enter into absolute homelessness or hidden homelessness instead. And if we think about this too, why would someone leave home? How hard was it for you to get out of bed this morning? I love sleep. It's like my favorite thing of life. I'm like wrapped up in blankets and pillows. I have my little dog who snores louder than I do. So, I can go downstairs, eat my food in the fridge. I'm a big gamer, so I can go play on my tower or my PS4. What would make me want to get up for a park bench? Something's really bad to be going on at home. And a lot of times these young people are forced into these situations well beyond their control. Just a bit of food for thought, though. I mean, how much money a family makes is really zero determination whether they're not going to be homeless or not. I've seen families that are struggling to get by. I have seen families that are living in the bridle path downtown Toronto making millions of dollars. Commonly, and the most common that you will see of an individual entering into homelessness is middle income bracket. Many of these young people are experiencing many things of traumas in the past. They are carrying mental health like anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, depressions. And a lot of these individuals, especially outside of Toronto, are identifying within the Indigenous bracket. They are highly overrepresented, and minorities in particular are highly overrepresented within the homeless sector as well. But, I mean, I walked around Toronto. I've walked around Etobicoke. I've walked around the West End. I don't see homeless kids, right? It can't be that bad. Oh, man. If only you really knew. Because sadly, every year in Toronto, there's about 10,000 different youth that are going to experience homelessness. Just to wrap this around your heads again, on the most recent street count that was done in Toronto, which was April 16th of 2021, so of this year, there was 886 homeless kids out in the streets or in shelters. Now, pre-pandemic, there was about 400 youth shelter beds across the GTA. There's actually not even enough beds for a lot of young people. And this is not including those that are hidden homeless. And any one night, they could say there's as many as 2,000 young people that are on the streets any evening. And this could be quite hard, especially once we look bigger than this. And we're looking at Canada as a whole, where we can see 35 to 60,000 young people. I'm just averaging at about 40,000 young people homeless any point of the year. This is 15% of the overall homeless population in Toronto, 20% of the overall homeless population in Canada. They're the second largest population overall. The only larger population is the elderly, and they're not much ahead, a few decimal points. Young people are also the fastest growing demographic out there. This is something that we need to come together to be able to change. This is a huge crisis and issue. But what really does homelessness look like? I mean, I could give you so many stories. I can give you so many images. But I bet you that I could tell you what you're picturing in your head. I mean, close your eyes. Picture a stereotypical homeless individual in your head. You know what you're seeing? You're seeing somebody who's older. They're not younger. You're seeing somebody who's living on the streets. They're not sheltered. You're seeing somebody who is in rags. You're not seeing somebody who's clothed. You're seeing somebody who's dropped out of school. They're not in graduating. You're seeing somebody who might be using substances. They're not clean and sober. You're seeing somebody who's panhandling. They're not employed. And majority of the time, you typically are seeing somebody who's male. Now, one of my biggest things of doing these presentations is I do want to break that image. If you receive nothing else out of this conversation, I want you to remember these faces. This is the face of youth homelessness. They're just like everybody else. They have the same wants, the same dreams, the same desires. I mean, gosh, who doesn't want the new iPhones, the new video games, hanging out with their friends, and to be like every other young person? This is when you need to explore, to find out who you are. These young people just need a little bit of extra help and support. And guess what? They were strong enough to be able to say, help me. I can't do this by myself. This is why I'm so thankful that we do have individuals like WestLINK to be able to give these individuals that bridge, that support, that connection. But how can we move the dial? I mean, these are things that are being impacted on a day-to-day basis out in our communities. It can be hard for a lot of individuals, hard for a lot of groups to even think about, how do I start to make that impact? Well, I want to be able to do that for you here today, because I can tell you that we can focus on this from 3 different levels. And you know what? We can't do it alone. Shelters are not the solution by themselves. We need everyone to get involved. The religious communities, healthcare communities, education communities, social service communities, justice communities. We need to unite to be able to not only move an individual out of homelessness when they are into homelessness, but even prevent somebody from entering or relapsing into homelessness. If we're looking at this just from a first level primary lens, I mean, this is more of a structural approach. These are a lot of governmental things that can be put in place, kind of not targeted towards an individual, but everybody. I mean, let's look at things like affordable housing and childcare. Let's ensure that everybody has equal access to these types of things. Maybe working towards some anti-oppression strategies. Individuals that may or could be disadvantaged. Let's look at putting out natural supports in our communities, ensuring that nobody is left behind. Maybe we're working towards secondary level prevention strategies. Here is where a lot of YWS services kind of come in play. It's not just having an individual who may be impacted by homelessness. It's an individual who may quickly entered into homelessness and transitioning them quickly out of homelessness. We don't want an individual to become chronically homeless and fall into the gaps for years. We want to ensure that we can move them on, move them forward with ongoing supports. But I also want to catch those before they even enter into homelessness, stop them from coming to a place like ours. Maybe I'm working with community partners. Maybe they need some employment supports. Maybe they need a community of individuals around them to be able to talk to. Maybe they're looking for some volunteering opportunities. There's a lot of different things that an individual might need, even to move forward for their education. We want to ensure that a young person can achieve anything, to not just be stuck where they are, but to move forward. Now, if we are even looking at this too, we've got good coalitions across Canada, like A Way Home, that is putting a lot of these networks in place, ensuring that we can be not just reactive, but proactive within the communities. Now, also a third level lens, ensuring that a young person, potentially who may have previously experienced homelessness, will not have to enter into homelessness again. Here in Canada, we look at a housing first model. ensuring that not just we find that place, bye, see you later. No, we're finding that place with ongoing supports and housings and aftercares, making sure that you have these meals, having someone be able to talk to, hygiene bank access, whatever you may need, ongoing, long term. This is the ways in which we can ensure that a young person may not relapse into homelessness. And this is where we do need the community to be able to help support us. Because you know what, COVID-19 has been something that's just been so much fun within the community. We've had to limit our numbers. We did have 53 before pandemic. We are down to 37 young people. However, we've also had to reduce our volunteering opportunities. I know in March of last year, we actually seen our last couple of smiling faces enter our doors. But the amazing thing is we've also made a lot of great changes, a lot of great strides. We've enhanced our mental health supports, bringing clinicians here on site, making sure that no young person shall have to suffer through the pandemic by themselves. Enhanced our fitness supports, life skills building programs. Had these reverse curbside drop-offs, having great community members like yourselves getting involved with us outside. The more and more we're learning about the virus, we're opening up more and more. Things are changing. And the great thing I can tell you is that throughout this entire pandemic, knock on wood, we've actually seen 0 outbreaks of COVID-19. Our staff teams have been amazing, working with the hospitals, having rapid testing kits, having vaccination sites on site. We want to ensure that no young person will be alone. But what can you do? I mean, reality is we can't end homelessness alone. We need people like yourselves. You're already doing one of the biggest things. You're learning. You're learning about the issues of youth homelessness. The more and more you learn, the more knowledgeable you're going to be. But don't just keep that knowledge up in your head. Become more active. Applaud your politicians who actually are making changes. Hold their feet to the fire when they're not. Maybe participate in events like World Homelessness Day. Take part in national coalitions. Potentially get involved in virtual volunteering opportunities, or even share your skills with things like YWS. Creative writings are an amazing opportunity to be able to get involved. Different donation drives are fantastic. It's how we are able to even survive through this pandemic. Third-party events such as this is how young people even know that the community is still there behind them. We also, throughout the month of February, want to be able to encourage art activism, to raise our voices together through song, through dance, through the arts, through time for change, ensuring again that we can make social change in the communities. Because with your support, I know that it is possible. Because no young person does have to be left behind. WestLINK, thank you so much for you being able to connect with me today. I'm so amazed and so impressed with the amount of support that you've given to our young people within our communities. And I do want to open this up to seeing if you have potentially any questions that you may have ever want asked, potentially about youth homelessness. And what I will do is I will stop sharing my screen here so I can come back and see everyone's lovely faces again. So thank you everybody so much.
Thanks for the presentation, Mike. There were a lot of great points, such as bridging the gap with the community, volunteering. We even have some comments in the chat. JLS on Facebook says, prevention is better than cure. But before we ask any questions, let's take a quick song break. We encourage you, the audience, to write any questions or comments you have in the chat, and we'll do our best to acknowledge them. The song is entitled Lean on Me by Kirk Franklin, but we will be right back, so stay tuned.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you a story?
Tell me a story.
There's a man standing on the corner. He has no home, he has no food, and his blue skies are gone. Can you hear him crying now?
And there's a girl searching for a father and a friend, praying that the storm someday will end. But instead of walking away, open up your mouth and say, you don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me. There's a child who is sick and begging to be free, but there is no cure for his disease. He looks up to his mother as she holds
Praying that someday the sun will shine again and the pain will end.
I am here. You don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there. Friends are to catch you when you fall. Here's my shoulder. Here's my shoulder. You can lean on me.
Tell me how can I love Jesus when I've never seen his face?
I see you dying, and I'll turn and walk away. So hold my hand.
Let me take you to a friend of mine.
He's waiting just to ease your troubled mind.
But instead of walking away, say, open up.
Open up your heart and say, I am here. You don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. You don't have to worry. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me. You woke me up this morning, started me on.
Welcome back to WestLINK, where we connect. Lean on Me, such a powerful song. I don't know about you folks, I don't know about Kimberly, I don't know about Mike, but that is such a powerful song. On a topic like this, and it's such a time like this, lean on me. That means all of us, it will take all of us to ensure that homelessness, especially in youth, is eradicated, right? Mike, I just want to, I know, just in the interest of time, I just want to, allow those nuggets that you've gained me to resonate a little bit in my mind. Just three of the main factor, the facet that you said in a primary prevention, in a secondary prevention, and also in a tertiary prevention. I don't know about you, but that's something to my mind. Of course, Lean on Me. That is a very appropriate song, especially in a time such as like this. Considering that we're talking about the community and the engagement, let's lean on each other. Together we can eradicate this. Now, Tiffany is the founder of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Project. She is a youth leader, an advocate in our community. Welcome to WestLINK, Tiffany. We are happy to have you today. We're hoping to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. As you heard, I am Tiffany Ambrose. I am a youth, a young adult of Toronto West Seventh-day Adventist Church. I was spearheading the project for Global Youth Day along with others, and also spearheaded the project for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Relief. And I'm just here to talk about some of that today.
Okay, thank you so much, Tiffany. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now we'll move into the panel discussion. We'll have a Q&A. And ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to type in the chat. Any question you might have asked, you get it from Tiffany, who is a youth advocate, and you get it from Mike, who is a professional, who has been doing this most of his life, and you can see how he exemplify that passion and that zeal, the way how he convey his self towards his presentation. Mm-hmm. He felt it, he believed it, right, Kimberly? And
yes,
we definitely have to know that's what we want about, not something to be robotic about, but something that you're convinced and you're convicted that will make a change. Powerful. Just to let you know, for those of us who are tuning on right now, or just for those of us who have been on it a long time, the topic of the day is faith in action. That is it. Faith in action, connecting with the community. It's going to take all of us to put our faith in action. So it's just first question I want to ask. It can go to Tiffany or Mike, anyone who's ever fit that they can clarify in this. Please give a brief description of the roles you play in your community. Why do you think that it makes an impact? Mike or Tiffany? Go ahead.
Mike, you can go first. I mean, you have an official position.
No, absolutely. No, I guess for myself, it would be the Community Engagement and Education Specialist, which is a really fancy title, which means that I love to talk, if you haven't realized. I'm a little bit of a storyteller, and I've always had a lot of passion with being able to help support homeless youth. But it's not just being able to do that. It's being able to see a young person come in who might be impacted by a lot of trauma in the past, a lot of different things that may have happened. And you see them evolve, see them change, see them grow and develop into this amazing young person who may come back, volunteer, get involved with us. And I've always been honored to, I guess, be a part of the journey and welcome to this family.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For myself, I mean, it's not as official as Mike, but like I said before, I was spearheading the Global Youth Day project at Toronto West. I spearheaded the St. Vincent and the Grenadines project, as well as other people. Also, at the school I attend, York University, I served as the outreach chair for a couple of years. So I was basically doing interaction with the community from the school point of view to get students involved. And even in my own community, I live in Vaughan, right? I frequently help out at the community center, with the food bank, with the donation center, with the kids, preschool, just stuff like that. I like to be really involved in the community. I like to rally youth around around activism and around community service.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you so much, Mike. So now you know, now you see, you've heard they're speaking about what they've done. They're active. They're not just saying it, but they're getting involved and getting that work.
Just before we get to a question for Tiffany, so we can learn a little bit more about the St. Vincent and Grenadines project, do have a question for Mike from the chat, which is from JL Snag, who says, What types of support are given to youth who leave home because they don't want to abide by rules or guidelines?
That's a very good question, to be completely honest. And it can be tough for a lot of young people who are entering into homelessness for the very first time. Now, there's many different reasons why somebody may enter into homelessness, but I can tell you that it's actually less than actually 5% right now in Toronto who are even entering into this because of not wanting to follow rules. With YWS, we don't really care why you need to be able to enter into our services. A lot of times, if you think about it, if you're entering into a youth shelter, you are giving up a lot of your free space, your free times. You can't go out whenever you want. There are curfews. You may be sharing space with others and individuals. A lot of times, shelters can be scary for a lot of young people. We still make sure that we can offer ongoing conditional supports. And if family reconciliation is that safe option, why not? There might be no place like home if that is safe.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that, Ms. Snag. Powerful question. Thank you so much.
Mhm. So, Tiffany, what inspired you to start the St. Vincent and Grenadines project, and how do you stay motivated to serve until the end?
Really and truly, it was just I saw a need and I saw that I could help and I wanted to fill it. Right. I am a proud believer of if you can help, help. Right. It's based on Veggie Tales. You know, the stories and things that we learn as kids are applicable even up in life. You know, if you can help someone and you don't, you're actually hurting them. Right. And I've always tried to do the best I can to help anybody who's in a position who's unfortunate than I am. So if I can help even just a little bit, I want to help because every small bit makes a difference. And if I can bring other people inside, then I definitely will, because 4 hands are better than 2 and 18 hands are better than 2 again. Right. So I feel like as humans and as Christians especially, we need to help our brothers and sisters out, right, when they need help, just like how Jesus would want us to do, and even as a humanitarian thing to do, just to be there for each other, to help each other out when they're in the time of need.
Thank you. I love that your passion for leadership, and also you're showcasing, your home training and your spiritual gifts. So we love that. We do have a short video highlighting Global Youth Day and the St. Vincent Project. So let's take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Global Youth Day this year was on March 20th. It's basically a day where youth go out into the community and they intentionally do community service. Just like a little, it's like Valentine's Day, a day made just for giving out love. Here we have some pictures of some of the food. We made some home cooked meals to give out to the youth, because we just figured a lot of them don't get home cooking as much. So let's share our love and let's bring some meals to them. Here we have a couple of little small inspirational quotes, a little bit of snacks and toiletries. Here's a little more of our snacks that we had. These were all donated to us, by the way, from the community, from church members, from anyone who wanted to give. We have hygiene products. We have oral hygiene products. We also have some backpacks here. We actually ordered these so that it would be better for the youth to have something to carry it in, also to use it as double down, as also a thing to have it with them to go on in the community with. This is the team. That's me, myself, and the team who actually put the bags together on the day of. And this is the team that actually went out to deliver the bags and all the donations to the shelter, right? So we had a couple of teams working at once. We had the culinary team with the food, the team for packing that did the backpacks, and then the one doing the delivery. Now here's the video for the St. Vincent project. This is the whole entire lobby filled with donations, all from church members, all from the community, from people at school, at work. Just look at all the donations. Like the church and the community really rallied behind us and helped us with our St. Vincent project. We said, we wanted to help. We need your help. Please help. And there I am, my ashy knees. Don't look at it. But there I am. And we are there packing the barrels, packing it the real West Indian way. We figured, here's Sharika and Sydney, a couple of our youth, they were actually coloring and some of the barrels to make it a little more lively instead of seeing plain brown. Yeah, just as you can see, a lot of us came out to help. There was at least, I want to say, COVID in mind. at least 10 of us and like rotating around. So overall, maybe like 12, 13. And people were coming during the day to drop off items as well. So it was really, really good. At the end, we were able to send 5 barrels and a box, which is great for the short time we had it in. And I want to thank once again the community, the church, and everyone who donated things to help make this initiative such a success.
Thanks so much, Tiffany. And for everyone else that was partnered with Tiffany to make this a success.
Awesome. Wonderful job, Tiffany. I'm happy that you practice what you're preaching, and that's why, as a youth advocate, salute. That's why. Now we're moving on to our Global Youth Day, and of course, questions we're gonna ask, and we're gonna get personal. So now is a time to hear your perspective, both, of course, Mike and Tiffany as well. So the first question, I'll put it to Tiffany, because I've heard you spoke before, and I'm taking my notes. So I'm actually coming right back to you, Tiffany, with this question. You said, you made a statement, and I quote, you said, if you can help someone and you don't, you're hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful. I thank you for that nugget, and I will apply it in my life. And I hope that most of us are viewing online as well, apply it in your life. What does the face of homelessness look like? That's what you gotta ask yourself, as what Mike articulately spoke about in his presentation. What does the face look like of homelessness in youths, right? So the question is, how do you view collaboration, Tiffany?
For me, collaboration is anybody that's willing and able to help, right? I always believe, like I said, more hands are better than none. And I feel like it's so important to collaborate among churches, among cultures, amongst people, amongst organizations. I think it's so important because the more people that rally together, the bigger impact we can have, right? And I feel like it's so important. Of course, like I said, anything helps, and even one person is better than nobody doing anything. But I feel like it's so important to build that unity, to build that brotherhood amongst the nation. I really feel like it's really important. And if ever you get an opportunity to collaborate, I feel like you definitely should. Just again to make the best impact possible and reach more people.
Thank you so much. Powerful. I'll leave my co-host to go ahead.
Okay, so Mike, we do have a question for you in the chat from Miss Caroline, which says, Mike, is there any warning signs or early intervention available to lower the risk of youth becoming homeless?
Yes, there are 7 major kind of identifiers, or 7 major categories of identifiers. Very first kind of identifier might be your educational identifiers or educational issues. These could be things like attendance at several different schools, potential missing records for enrollment, inability to pay fees, lacking basic school supplies, sometimes poor organizational skills, or even things like requests to use the phone on a regular basis, requests to use the school phone or school internet on a regular basis. There could be another category like poor nutrition or poor health. These are things like missing immunization records, missing medical records, potential unmet dental needs, hygiene needs, medical needs, respiratory problems, chronic hunger, hoarding, fatigue all the time. Another category could be things like transportation or attendance issues. These are things like erratic attendance or tardiness all the time, or a number of absences from programs. Potentially within schools, there could be conflict of going to like field trips, or even contacting parents could be an issue. Hygiene could be a problem, not just, washing, showers, clothes, that's the basics. Things like a noticeable change, like an individual might start growing their hair all of a sudden, or just start shaving it off. They could be growing a beard. It could be a little bit tough for individuals. It could be a lack of personal space after school. Their backpack could be full of different types of things that really aren't normally in a backpack, that could have basically their life carrying with them. There could be large social behavioral changes with this individual. They may be extremely shy, older than what they even are. There could be some developmental delays, really noticeable changes in behavior. But the big one to really look out for too is different reactions and statements, especially when talking about their parents, talking about their household. They may not be as forthcoming of where they're staying. They may be like, oh, I'm moving around from place to place, or they get defensive of their parents. One big thing to note, though, is like one or more of these indicators, though, is not a definite sign of homelessness, though. It's a good place for a conversation. And that's really where we kind of need to be able to do, because everybody can support differently, can provide different types of things you might be able to offer. Having that communication, those partnerships, is a great way of seeing. Are you in need of immediate housing? Do you need to come to a place like ours? Are you looking for employment supports? Are you looking for mental health supports? Maybe you need to come to our church and have this big circle and have type of communications, and you need that community love. There's lots of different ways in which we can kind of intervene at different levels, depending on what exactly these young people may be experiencing. So yeah, great question.
Very good question. Thank you so much. As the winter season approaches, the impact of homelessness definitely becomes more detrimental. So how does or can the church play a role in the community outreach you are involved in?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I mean, that's the big question that really everybody really needs to know. And there's always different ways that they can get involved, whether it's getting in contact directly with organizations like ours, something that you really feel passionate about within your backyard, whether this be in St. Vincent's and Grenadines Project. Really, the only thing is not getting involved. That's how you don't make change in the community. Reach out, see how you can get involved. I know with a project like this, we're looking for things like creative writing. There's multiple different donation projects. You want to get involved with ongoing fundraisers. You want to be able to impact young people in your communities. Oh, believe me, let's have a conversation. I'll talk to you about that for the next 29, 30 years even. But there's so much that you can do in this community to be able to affect change. Find your passion. Reach out, and just don't think about making that change. Do it. Get up and actively make a difference in the community.
Thank you. I'll pass it over to Kenroy, who will talk a little bit more about volunteering.
Thank you so much, Mike. I continue to be impressed in both Mike and Tiffany, and as well as the way you guys handle the question that we asked you. It's something for someone to SWOT something. When you're in university, you talk about long-term memory and short-term memory and what you SWOT and stuff. But you guys understood, what it meant. You not saying you felt like it, but you convinced me that for even myself, I have to look deep within and to see how I can get involved. How I can get up, not just talking, and do something about it. Tiffany as well. You and your friends, you collab together. I mean, for such young people, I'm impressed, and keep it up, right? Each one for each one, and it's an awesome outreach initiative. And absolutely, you guys have made an impact. So that's great. So now with that question, the next question for me, and of course, thank you, Mike. I keep on poking at Tiffany because I like what she says, right? And she is a youth, and she's a leader in the future. So we take care of the future. We take care of the youths, of course, and we encourage them. We have a bright future because it's all about preparation, not, you know what I mean? And before we prevent certain things. So, okay, great. So Tiffany, I heard you spoke again, I wrote down, and you made a statement. The more people collaborate, the more input, the more impact you have on our youths and our community. I kind of put in our youths and our community.
Yeah.
So the more that we get involved, don't you see that? The more people get active and not just speaking about it, but doing something about it, the more impact we'll have on what? On the community, and of course, on our society, on the youths, which is our future. We have to invest in our future, and while we invest in our youths. And I'll just leave that there. And of course, Mike will take it up. So my question to you, Tiffany, why is it important for young people to volunteer in outreach ministry?
I think it's so important because while helping is great, helping anybody is great, but I feel like there's just so much more power in young people touching young people. Right. I just feel like it's such a great message, right? It's like one of your own, right? When I love the whole concept of youth touching youth, right? I feel like not only does it make again unity better, right, and your mindset better, but I feel like it also helps to instill certain values in young people from the time they're younger, right? If you start from the time you're younger, helping in your community and just reaching out and volunteering, it can instill certain disciplines in you. Disciplines, it makes you a more kind-spirited person, and not only that, I feel like it's really important implementing those morals and values into the youth so they can generate that and bring it forward into as they grow older and put that out into the world. If you start from younger age, from when you're youth, then those things generate, and over time, it's almost like we're building a nicer planet, right? Be the change you want to see, right? If you start from now, the more people have that mindset, then they'll grow up and be people like Mike eventually, and they can be people like him, doing things, doing changes, and helping on a broader level, right? But I just really feel there's so much power in young people, touching young people, because young people bring people, right? And if you have youth in your initiative, then that's going to attract the young, the old, everybody else, right? Because they are like the catalyst into the community and how you can reach more resources at the same time.
Thank you so much. That was so powerful. I greatly appreciate that analogy. Young people bring people. Young people touching each other. Awesome, awesome. I'm just saying, as an advocate, you continue to explore these avenues, continue to advocate for youths, and I'm sure such other youths like yourself and like-minded can definitely actually contribute to that society. I love it, making this planet a better place that we can live in. And if we only could see when we pass on what our youths are doing, we'd be so proud. So thank you, Tiffany. Excellent answer right there to you. And of course, take it over to Kimberly.
Well, Tiffany, I
Go
love
ahead.
what you said. You said, be the change you want to see. So, can you share a short testimonial of your experience doing outreach ministry?
Like I said, I dabble in quite a few things, and this is definitely not a brag. It's just me trying to choose, like, which, because there's so many memories and so many testimonials that I could share, so much power and impact. Like, for example, my family and I, for years now, decades now, we've been doing feeding the homeless, and we'll go downtown into Toronto, and we'll prepare a whole bunch of sack lunches and food, and we'll go and give it out to homeless people on the streets, right, every third Sabbath. Right, and just to see the joy in these people's eyes, and the things that they say back to you, like some of them really just want conversation. They just want to feel like they're loved. Some people want the food. Some people will want, the blankets. We could be getting clothes as well. And one time we were down there, and I was just giving lunch to a young man on the street. He was probably no older than I was, right? And he just really started telling me how much this means to him, how he was, it's literally been about to be his last meal, and he's end his life the next day, right? Because he felt like nobody cared, right? But just seeing people came all the way down from wherever to come and feed someone like him, that gives him hope. He feels loved, he feels valued, and all that stuff. And I shared a little bit of, well, we're from this church and we believe that Jesus loves everybody and that you're important and you're valued, and that just really turned his positive outlook. And after we left, I was so nervous that, oh my gosh, I feel like I may not see him again the next time, right? And then we went back 3 weeks later, and he was there, and I was like, God be praised, because that means that something happened. God worked here. I did something. Like, I just feel like, even if you save just one, like just one, is just the message, and that meant so much to me, because that really could have been his last day. And if I was able to help even the smallest way of you to feel loved, valued, and feel like you have purpose in your life, then I absolutely have done my job on this earth, and I'm ready to go, and take me now. That's just how I feel, and that will always stick with me. That will always stick with me.
Thank you. Definitely takes one to reach one. So, Mike, just before we get to the same question that I asked Tiffany, there is another question for you on YouTube from Miss Marcia Watts, who says, what do you suggest supporters and parents do when they see signs of change in the youth that can lead to possible homelessness?
Yeah, and I mean, this is such a big thing, because if we can find that silver bullet answer, we could like end homelessness together, and we'll do it so we can patent it, and it'll be great. We'll just get it out there and get it done. It is so different. It's for everybody. And the biggest thing is you can offer your unconditional support in the community. Kind of what Tiffany is saying is that one person kind of helps support, great. Having a community to help support is great. Have that conversation. Hey, I've noticed a couple of big changes that have been happening. Is everything okay? See where it goes. Let the youth tell you what they need. Let them be the guider of their own destinies. The big thing is we can affect change, but we need to work with our young people. They are much more knowledgeable and much more powerful than what we truly do believe. They can be the gatekeepers of their own destiny. We're that bridge, and that's the big thing that you can kind of be. Help them be able to find different types of resources that are out there. Maybe they are in immediate need and they need to come to a place like us. Maybe they're looking towards needing some mental health supports and someone to be able to talk to. Maybe they need just to find some employment, to save up some money to be able to move out independently. Maybe they just need to find some affordable housings. Really, the different types of supports that you can offer are different for everybody. But the big thing is just be there. Be there for a young person unconditionally, and make sure that no matter what, let them know that they will never be alone. That's what you do.
Thank
Awesome.
you. I love that. Be the bridge. Be the bridge. So just before I hand it over to Kenroy to give closing thoughts, can you end with sharing a short testimonial of your experience doing outreach ministry? That's for Mike.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different experiences that I've had working with the outreach testimonials and the outreach groups, and really the ministry has uplifted a lot of the young people coming into our doors. Seeing the photos of you guys on our front steps there was bringing back memories of like, oh my goodness, I remember that day, and we'd have our young people just brighten up, knowing that the community is behind them, even through these dark times called COVID, where we've had to isolate. You know, that's what we're told, that's safe. We can't come together. We can't touch each other. We can't hug. We can't do these loving, embracing things that we want to do and crave as human beings. But guess what? You can do this virtually. You can do this through these reverse drop-offs. You can do this by really engaging with your communities. I know that we've seen our young people, and I can tell you a story about a young person in particular from this one drop-off that you just had in that photo. They came, they helped us bring everything inside downstairs, and they were asking, like, who are those people? So I told them. And they're like, really? So why do they do that? Like, what do they gain? I'm like, well, nothing, really. They're here because they want to be able to help you. Yeah. I mean, this is a big thing for a lot of these young people. They've maybe seen who was their family members, mothers, grandparents neglect their physically, just hurt them. And then they have total strangers like yourselves reaching out with this unconditional support that I was kind of talking about. This is the community love. This is that WestLINK connection that we have with YWS. Thank you. That's what I really want to be able to share with you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. And I'll pass it over to Kenroy.
Wow. Powerful. I'm just absorbing all that perspective and totally, just resonating. And of course, the next time that I see something, the next time that I see any kind of charity or outreach program involving the youths, and not just the youths, but also, adults as well, but I can get involved and not just saying it. Mike, awesome perspective. Thank you for your PowerPoint presentation. Thank you for educating me, sir. Salute. And of course, Tiffany, awesome to see a young lady, taken with such aspiration. I mean, You inspire me. I greatly appreciate that. So that was a great discussion. So now we're going to wrap up. It's a closing time. Unfortunately, we don't want to go. Quick announcement before we wrap up. Just want to let each and every one of you know we're here. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Just want to let you know that the WestLink will return in December 11th. Same place, same time, but different. Sometimes different people, different perspective, so we can hear it all around. So in 30 minutes or less, Tiffany, again, could you share with us what do you take away? Is there anything to take away you can share with us? You know, just a little nugget. I love the nuggets you got before, but any little thing you want us to take away with?
Honestly, I would just reiterate what I said, right? Like, if you can help, help. Anything helps. I know it sounds like a cliche, but really anything helps. The smallest thing or the biggest thing, it helps. Be the change that you want to see. And if you guys have any questions or how to get involved, definitely can reach out to me. There's so many things and ways to get involved. I always have ideas. I'm just an idea machine. Reach out to me. I'm more than willing to help anybody get involved, but be the change that you want to see in your community and in the world.
Awesome. Be the change that you want to see. You see, I wouldn't have got this if I wouldn't spoke to you, because, younger mind is more brighter. You see what I'm saying? So thank you. Be the change that you want to be. So next time for me, if I see something and whether I don't like it, I want to do something about it, I should not just speak about it, but I should be that change.
Yeah,
get involved. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Awesome point. Mike, and of course, I'm not leaving you out. I know before Kimberly was asking a question, man. So it's two hosts, so one take one. You know what I'm saying? So in 30 minutes, second or less, Mike, is there anything that you want to share with us when we take away that punch, so we can go away leaving that, with that in our thought?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had another 30 minutes to leave you with that thought, because believe you me, I could and I would take up that 30 minutes, because, it takes that long sometimes to be able to talk about the issues of youth homelessness. And I do even see here in the chat too, we've got matter safety concerned of youth that are screened before they come in the organization. And the big thing is I'm going to end both of these off at the same time, talking about that safety and concern and everything else. Because guess what? YWS, we're looking at the community to be able to end youth homelessness, and we can't do it by ourselves. It's impossible for a shelter simply just to be that Band-Aid solution to ending homelessness. We're working with partners. We're working with individuals like yourself. So we're working with things like kids, hospitals, St. Mike's, Shoppers Drug Marts, even do things like rapid testing kits. We want to ensure not just the safety of young people entering our organization, but long term. Because guess what? Together, we can end youth homelessness, but I can't do it by myself. I need you to be able to get involved. And that's just it. Don't just say something, do something. Actually take that step forward. Move forward. Get out of your comfort zone. Try something new. Find what you're passionate about. Don't just say something. Tiffany, you did great. Just do something.
Thank you so much, Mike. That's great. Another second part. I think I just want to take Miss Snag. I see J. L. Snag. He said, "Great panelists. Nice seeing you. You, Tiffany, being involved. May we continue to be that change that we want to see." Don't just say it, be involved, right, Tiffany? I hope that you're saying. Mike, this one is another one for you, so I won't bug Tiffany that much. So when we get off here, she don't call me again and call me or anything or talk to me. So Mike, how can the YWS be reached? Can you share it with social media to handle with us, so you can share that?
Absolutely. Best ways of checking at us, you can either check us out on our website. We do have our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter handles. You can reach us at yws.on.ca. See all the cool, fun activities, things we're doing, learn a little bit more events, or actually get involved. Check us out on Facebook or on Instagram at YWS Toronto, or even should go over to Twitter and at YWS Toronto, but we do have a little bit of a capital letters on that one too. See even what WestLINK might be doing as well. Snap that photo, tag us in there. We would love to share your involvement for everything that we are doing, because guess what? YWS is not just our building, it's the community. WestLINK is it. If you can help, help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. I could stay here and listen to Tiffany and Mike all evening long, but I understand, you know, we do have other priorities. And again, I want to thank Tiffany. I want to thank Mike. I want to thank my co-host Kimberly. Awesome, you know, program. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. I want to thank also. Stay tuned for a special video from Pastor Dermot Baptist from the St. Venice Ingredients program they have there. So communication, stay tuned. Thank you so much and greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Each one, reach one. So we'll just enter into a short video right now from Pastor Dermot Baptist.
Welcome to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Oh, and all I can say is welcome, welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Executive Committee, I greet you today from Sunday, dirty, grubby St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where the air quality is compromised due to toxic gases in the atmosphere and noxious sediments deposited on every street, backyard, and building in the country. Conditions are rife for respiratory ailments, allergic reactions, and post-traumatic disorders of the highest order. Coupled with COVID-19 still lurking around and a current outbreak of clusters in some shelters, this has become a double-edged sword which knocks one with blunt force on both sides of the neck, for which the nation is crying relentlessly with bated breath. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Take your knees off my neck, I can't breathe. Mother Nature was in majestic display on April 9th when the Los Sofre volcano in SBG woke up furiously after lying asleep for 42 years, perilously breaking through all containment measures and terrifyingly assaulted the population with its fatal, lethal, deadly punches on the left and the right, over the river, on the banks, north, south, east, west, as far as St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada. No one escaped its wrath and fury. Oh, what a night! What a Saturday night, when after the Sabbath hours ended, it scaringly ascended like an interballistic missile with earth-trembling noises to a height of 51,000 feet, far beyond the flying space of commercial jets. Sunday morning was like midnight, as the entire island was blanketed with ash and gas deposits ranging from 2 inches in the safe zone to more than 2 feet in the red zone. The water system was immediately decommissioned, electricity shut down, unidentified flying missiles hitting you in the face, mask wearing a mask, and every man, woman, and beast marooned to his own corner. It was an unprecedented nightmare of colossal magnitude, the likes that I would never want to see and witness again in my lifetime. After 31 continuous episodes of pounding and battering and spewing and emitting over a 12-day period, it has left the nation bruised, battered, beaten, and broken, as the following statistics reveal. The eruption mirrors that of 1902, which killed 1,600 persons, and possesses the damaging, detrimental, destructive energy to completely destabilize the entire country. Over 100,000 cubic meters of poisonous gases, ash, rocks, and magma were emitted into the atmosphere, with the accompanying currents of mud streams, pyroclastic flows, and lasers, which is a threat to human habitation. The destruction caused to the country is unbelievably astounding, with preliminary estimates putting it at 50% of GDP, which can retard the development of the country by 10 years. Every sector of the economy has been affected. Agriculture has taken a good beating. Tree crops destroyed, fruits ruined, vegetation gnawed, livestock perished, valleys became plains, houses collapsed, and road network derailed. Some 15,000 persons had to be evacuated with just the clothing on their backs to the green zone, and are now living in 87 government-designated shelters or among families and friends. Schools are closed, and many of the school buildings uninhabitable in the orange and red zones, and are used as shelters in the green and yellow zones. Thank God there has been no loss of lives. The back may be broken, but the spirit of survival exists. We are cast down, but not disheartened, shattered, but not dismayed, traumatized, but not dispirited, distressed, but not disquieted. There is a massive relief program on the way to take care of the displaced residents, of which the Seventh-day Adventist Church, from a duty of care, is performing a significant role. The Church's intervention to the relief exercise is in 5 distinct areas. 1. To provide 100,000 meals over a 3-month period, which comes at a basic cost of East Caribbean dollars 800,000 or US $300,000, which translates to 8 EC dollars or 3 US dollars per meal. 2. To supply 5,000 food hampers to families and individuals who are displaced, 2,000 feminine care packages to women, and 1,000 backpacks with toys, puzzles, coloring, and storybooks to children. 3. To offer psychological or psychosocial support and first aid counseling to the evacuees who are traumatized and experiencing various forms of mental illness. 4. To distribute 1,000 Bibles and 1,000 missionary books, Hope for the Family, to families and provide other reading materials, inclusive of Priorities magazines, to each evacuation center. 5. To assemble a water caravan in which 1 million cases of purified bottled water are being distributed to the neediest areas and persons. We thank the Seventh-day Adventist Church family through the various layers of management structure for their social solidarity and willingness to be great Samaritans to a bruised and battered nation. Adjoa International, the Caribbean Union Conference with its affiliate missions and conferences, the University of the Southern Caribbean, the Inter-American Division inclusive of IATRA, the General Conference, members and churches.
Wow, wow, wow. That's all I gotta say. Wow, wow, and wow. I have been educated and I've greatly appreciated. I can't wait for more. Tiffany, expecting great things from you. Mike, continue to do what you're doing. Tiffany, continue to do what you're doing. Continue to live purposefully and continue to maintain that position and the willingness to help, not just to say. It's like, show me you love me, don't tell me. And of course, Kimberly, thank you so much for co-hosting with me, on such a powerful program. I'm still kind of resonating in my mind. That's how I am. I get information, I let it resonate, and I think on it. I just don't walk away. I'm filled up right now, so you'd have to keep myself composed. Just give me a chance to digest. I am going to close in prayer, but just before I close, I just want to say something. Salute, Tiffany. Salute, Mike, and of course, Kimberly. Salute. And of course, this is how we do it. At Toronto West, WestLINK, of course. We come, we confabulate, we stay connected, and we connect each and every time. And of course, as I said, December 11th will be the other WestLINK. Here we connect, and of course, we stay tuned with that. I just want to say here to create, to cultivate, and to preserve the enthusiasm, the peace, and the joy, and the willingness to fulfill our purpose by ending youth homelessness. Thank you so much. Let us pray. Heavenly Father God, I want to give you all the glory. I want to give you all the thanks. I want to give you all the praise in such a time like this. Thank you, O Father, for this young person, Tiffany, who have heard the calling and you have listened. Father God, she have listened, she have obeyed, and she's put in action what she have learned. Father, thank you for her, for advocating for young people. Thank you for her for allowing her not to think about herself, but to think about others, to get up, to go out, and to help. I want to thank you, God, for Mike as well. Most of his life, he's been that advocate as well, and that I would say teacher, that person who lived it, have talked it and walked it, and that person who hoped and desired to see eradication of homelessness in our young people, in youth. Again, Kimberly Springer, oh Father God, my dear sister, I want to thank you, oh God, for her as well, her willingness to always step out and to step in faith and to get involved so we can work together to expose, to exfoliate, oh God, all these things which is happening. Yes, Lord, we have homelessness in young people. We also have it in adults as well. We have poverty. We have our communities, oh God, that need help. Help the church, help us as a body of people. Help, oh God, the organizations and of course our government to intervene. So everyone who is watching, everyone who is a part of a community, everyone who is here can say there's hope and there's help coming. And guess what? Each one will reach one. Excellent outreach initiative. Thank you, Father, for allowing WestLINK as a medium to expose and to exfoliate these secrets. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen. Thank you, everyone. Amen. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for this avenue. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all your points. Thank you for those who are online. It is a blessing. And you have yourself a wonderful Sabbath day. Good evening. Salut.